this is the plan for today. First of all, we have 15 rehearsals left. And the good call is that we've already had 15. So we're exactly at the halfway point. Isn't that cool?
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's really
so
weird.
if we do as much or more work as we've done in the last 15 rehearsals, we're golden. And I wanted to do a play that was completely modern. I wanted to do a play by a female playwright. And I wanted to do a play that dealt with style. This play, though it's very modern, deals with a lot of forms of classical storytelling, direct address, singing, dancing, really sort of staccato dialogue, stichomythia as we've been calling it. And there's a direct address, I don't know if I mentioned that, and a lot of movement. So, and it's all kind of broken into these vignettes that sometimes they end in commedia tableaus or hurdle from one to the other. So we've had a whole semester to work on it. That's another thing that's different than this time. Normally we're given 6 weeks, 6 days a week. But this time it was kind of set up as a class. The thing is, this is an exercise. This is part of like the classwork feeling. You don't have a lot of time. You have an hour and a half to build both of them and to build the music and the movements. And because of that time restraint, that's when the ideas have to come out, and you can't sit and think, oh my God, this is going in the show, and what if this sucks, and blah, 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 blah. You have to erase that from your mind and erase the critic and erase the editor from your mind right away. And to know that you guys have brains that are really great and expansive and creative, and using them all together is where it's really going to work. We've met every Friday since August and had 4 hours. We've dealt with the time in ways that we've been able to work on voice work, body work, a lot of movement work, and scene study as well. Scene study took up a lot of the time in the kind of front end, but then it's paid off because now we've been able to play a lot with voice exercises and movement exercises as well. We were given the KCT to kind of fool around with, which was awesome, and thank you, Greg Natali, for helping us with that. And we've created our space, and we pretty much were kind of let loose, to do whatever we want. It's sort of like a pack of wolves and see what we can do. The group that I have this time, and last time, the group that I have this time is extremely dedicated and really ready to jump in and do whatever needs to be done in whichever capacity, whether it's exercises or tech stuff like we're doing today.
A song. And I'll be like, do.
I'm happy.
Do.
I'm happy. Happy birthday.
Do.
I'm happy.
Happiness is stuck to happiness is needed. Happiness where go cat tea.
I have a lot of training in movement, and I love using it in rehearsal processes for a couple of reasons. One, because it completely opens up the physical apparatus, which I feel a lot of times, can get tense, and people hold back in their bodies when they're up on stage. We all know that. And so these exercises are basically structured so that, first of all, you completely exhaust your physical instrument, so you can't really hold any stress or tension anywhere. It just sort of falls away because you're so tired. And also starts to invite you to use your own impulses and to follow them physically. So when you're up here in this crazy space that we've created, you're able to maybe make some bigger choices that you wouldn't normally make because your body is more it's almost like it's more open, so it gives you a chance to do things that you wouldn't normally do, because in the movement sessions that we've done, we've maybe worked on moving in angles, or all different ways, or up and down and over, and dealing with floor pattern and architecture and kinesthetic response. Now this set that we have is an amazing playground to try out those skills.
Kate's a great director. I love Kate. Both shows I've worked on with her have been an absolute joy, and I thank God that I've worked with Kate twice. She's great. I've learned so much from her. It starts out, well, like I said earlier, we started out with just going over the text and just doing different exercises and just moving through a space to try to find the soul of our characters, how our characters moved through a space, which has been great in this show because the show's so stilted at some points in time and so stylized that I think we really needed that. Kate kind of gives you an idea of what she thinks the scene is about, and then just says, go for it, and whatever you try, if it works, she keeps it, and you work with that. If she doesn't like it, she says, try something new. So it's very much, it's a sink or swim. She gives you the scene, you go for it, and if you sink, well, then she'll help you. If you swim, then she'll, you keep what things work and what things don't work. She has a lot of trust in her actors.
All I know is that I'd never heard of this play at all. I didn't know anything about it until the summer when it was announced, and I read it and I fell in love with it immediately. And I think the callback experience was where we all realized just how cool a project it was and just how collaborative it was going to be, because we all did our own movement pieces with lines of the text and corresponding with the characters we were called back for. And like from that moment, I kind of saw what Kate was going for, like how she wanted each of us to bring our own ideas and physicality and just different stuff, just different stuff that we could bring to the table. And I don't know, we started off with a lot of exercises of getting to know each other and being able to listen and respond really well. More so than in any acting class I've ever had, because it was very specific from our characters' point of views. We did a lot of viewpointing, basically walking around the space and relating to each other, and just being affected by who's around you and how they're around you, and what it feels like to have someone sitting next to you or laying next to you, or you get a vibe from people when they're close by, whether it's meant to be there or not.
I don't know, it's a really good atmosphere working with this group. Kate's a brilliant director, and she asserts this great level of focus. Like from the beginning, from callbacks even, we knew what this play was going to be about, how rehearsals would go, and we all kind of agreed on it and worked it out. And there was this really nice level of focus, even though we're goofy. Great level of focus, great intention with us. Yeah, I don't know. And then everyone prepared, had their own process on their own, which is interesting too in this group, because we're all students. So everyone here is in this process of learning different ways to do different things. So everyone's got all this new technique they're being introduced to every day in class, and everyone's still kind of finding their way, which is really cool.
It has such a deeper meaning when being an ensemble piece. It's everyone working together, and you have to look at the performance as a whole, because no one's going to tell you what to wear or exactly what the lights are going to look like when you stand in this very specific space. I mean, it's all of us thinking and collaborating over all of this, and it gives you such a deeper understanding of the world that you're living in, and ideas pop up about what something looks like, and it gives you a greater meaning of how you as your character perceives it as. So that whole collaborative effort was really effective for the show, especially because so playful and so imaginative, and there's so many angles to be covered and so many things to explore. I mean, this space is a space to explore itself. So when you get the chance to like create the world that you, the character, is going to live in, I mean, how cool is that? Like, that doesn't come around that often.
So we made the set. We had 4 hours of like bull work. But we put our bodies into this, our physical work. We just hung all these Christmas lights. It was my first time ever hanging Christmas lights. And never experienced the hanging of Christmas lights before. So this is a special day for me. And so yeah, not that like I like design, I like designers, but it's really neat that we did this all ourselves, and we really did it all collectively. Everyone had a say in what went where and how it worked, and what's especially cool is that it's a highly anticipated final product, because everyone's hearing, oh my god, they revamped the KCT, what's it going to look like? So that's cool. Yeah, we really built a world. What's really cool about this set, and this is what I love about it, is that it looks like it's carved out of an almond. Like it looks like it's carved out of an almond, which has a lot to do with the play.
The Poor Theater is always the best show. Always is the best show.
Seriously, it just forces a lot more creativity, and I think it's more rewarding because the end product is really something that I can say, that was me, that was me, that was RJ, you know, Hannah brought this or whatever, and it's so much all of our piece.
So it gives a different like genre of shows, a different type of show, like a kind of a chance at a university level.
It's more like what is you're probably going to be working, like for real. You're not going to be given everything and having fittings and like just showing up and acting and leaving. Like you're never going to ever do that probably.
Do Poor Theater because it's going to be the theater you're going to be involved in most in the real world, if you're involved in theater.
I think that probably the most beneficial thing is that this is so much closer to how it actually is, especially in the beginning when you just graduate college. We are blessed to have the Center for the Arts in all of its like state-of-the-artdom, but as we know, when you get out into the real world, a lot of times you're working on really small budget shows or no budget shows, and so I think it's important to understand resources and how to use them and to be as creative as possible and gather whatever you can to make the show work. In fact, I was lugging in a box of Christmas lights and extension cords and, you know, my notebook and my dinner and my change of clothes and everything today, and I was like, oh man, I have got to really love this, or else there is no way I would do this for anything else, you know, because you don't get paid a lot, and it's definitely for the love of the creating the piece, and I feel like everybody in this process shares that desire and that love. I think so it's extremely important for that reason to understand how important it is to be on every side of the creative process. And secondly, I think that it gives the students a chance to have a voice in the production, to not come in and be like absolutely directed in this, you know, show and to get everything right. And I feel like, yes, that's kind of, you know, a goal that we have as well, but this has a lot of the pressure and stress off of it. It is very much about the process and about everybody creating together, and that's one thing, probably the thing that I try to do the most, is to create a very positive, creative atmosphere.